So hello everyone, and welcome to this roundtable discussion.
Can you send us the link or the Facebook or live, and we can share?
Sure. I believe you received it by now. I think we're all set. So hello again, everyone, and welcome to this roundtable discussion to talk about the opportunities that COVID-19 has presented to us. And we have 6 speakers today with us. We have Henry Nyakarundi from Rwanda, originally from Rwanda and currently in the US, right?
No, I'm in Rwanda. I've moved to Rwanda 7 years ago. So, but I'm based in Rwanda right now.
All right. So, Henry, for over 10 years, you have been a well-respected voice on entrepreneurship in Africa, renewable energy, innovation, technology impact. I believe you're also a mentor and a speaker and a strategist on social entrepreneurship in Africa.
Yes, I've done some speaking engagement. Correct.
All right. We have Sana Berthier, currently in France. So Sana, over 10 years of experience and hard work in the world of information, technology and telecommunications. You have launched Bridges Builder between European investors and African startups. You're an expert in business matchmaking and business development in the digital and information technology sector. If you could tell us a little bit more about your project.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for the invitation, Salama, first. And secondly, what can I say? Before Bridges Builder, I just want to make a quick introduction by saying that actually I'm passionate about digital and the IT industry, and I am also passionate about Africa. I do believe that we as African people, we grew up in economical constraints, lack of money. I mean, it's a fact. So we grew up with a spirit of innovation. And the past years when I worked in Morocco based in Casablanca, yes, but I worked in North Africa, in Middle East and sub-Saharan countries. I met special people, special entrepreneurs and startups who have this spirit, this young spirit of innovation. So for a couple of years, I was like thinking about this platform. And when I moved to Paris, I said, oh, maybe it is the opportunity to build this bridge between Europe and Africa. Europe being a place where we can find funds for startups, and Africa being the place of innovation and digital economy. So this platform is for startups in Africa who are willing to and looking for competencies. Would it be soft competencies or hard skills? And looking for funds in order to grow and create jobs for our community in Africa.
Thank you, Sana, for this brief, beautiful presentation. We have also Mehdi Badawi from Morocco. He's the founder of African Youth Leadership Summit. He's a remarkable leader who is keen on launching inclusive projects and loyal and generous mentor. So if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself, Mehdi.
Yeah, sure. So hello everyone. So my name is El Mehdi El Badawi from Morocco, especially more specifically from Marrakesh. So thanks Salma for the invitation, and thank you everyone for joining this roundtable, and looking forward for this exchange and co-creating. So mainly, yeah, as Salma said, I'm working at the AYLS, which is like a platform that enable youth to exchange, to learn, and to develop new solutions and new initiatives to build and to enhance their communities within the African continent. So as this actually, it is a summit for in its third edition, and yeah, so thanks again for the invitation, and looking forward to do this. Thanks.
Thank you, Mehdi. Moving on to our next speaker. She's a dynamic entrepreneur and consultant, rich of over 20 years of experience in different sectors, with a focus on international trade and food industry. This is Huda Farah Ksus.
Thanks for the invite, Salama.
If you could tell us a little bit more about food.
Exactly. So I see a lot of people are very much immersed in IT and everything that is tech. I'm not a tech entrepreneur. I'm more of an old-fashioned entrepreneur. I have companies that are over 10 years old that are doing things the traditional way, and we adopted technology throughout the years. However, what's interesting is the Food E-Show, which is an first international food trade show. That is actually, we created it with another company, Wing Consulting, to democratize access to markets for companies wherever they are. So if they have an exportable offer, if they have something to export, whether it's technology or food items around the ecosystem of food industry, we actually give them a platform where they can connect buyers and suppliers. And this is the most high-tech project I have ever done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Huda, sorry. So I would love to present Peter, but I think he was not able to join us so far. I will move to Mr. Omar Ibn Abdullah. So motivated by a passion to change the world, Omar is an economist, auditor, trainer, and an advocate of the SDGs, who has been committed for several years, demonstrating the place of youth in development and to improve the daily lives of each person in his or her circle as an active citizen. Omar, if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you, Salam, for bringing me joining this roundtable. It's most a privilege for me to be here today and to take this opportunity to show more about the health engagement in time of COVID-19 and how we can work together behind this pandemic. My name is Omar. I'm from Comoros. I'm actually work for my government as SDG, high-level SDG consultant of the President of the Union of Comoros. I'm also the CEO of OEA Group, which is an initiative we support all actors of society achieve sustainable development goals. We provide them training and capacity building, and also work for funding sometimes. So it is, I was taking part of different initiatives like the Obama Foundation, which is one of the leader program of Africa, and I have handled I was also in Harvard schools, which is the alumni of Harvard, and I bring a program in Ideas for Action Africa program. With the World Bank program, we work behind entrepreneurship. We support young entrepreneurship across the world to help them create sustainable projects in their community. I'm the community director of this program, this World Bank program. So it's a pleasure to me to be here today, and I think we will have the opportunity to show more and to learn more about us and about how we can do in this time of COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ahmad, for this swift presentation of yourself and all of the things that you did. I believe we will proceed to the discussion. So, as we all know, the pandemic has hit the world, and it made us question our methodologies in all sectors, allowing ourselves to cope with it. The splendorous challenges are undeniable, yet they catalyzed innovative solutions we might have never thought of before. So all of the countries made pivotal decisions to go through this pandemic and to keep it under control, but it affected the balance of all sectors and the SDGs as well. So I believe that this pandemic and to keep it this pandemic threatens not just to put agendas of the sustainable development goals on hold, but to reverse the progress that has already been made. And that is why we have been calling for a rescue package with a bulwark of ambition and innovation to triumph over the current ultimatum. Also, I believe that we accept life under the omnipresent threat of disease as ordinary, and the new normal is not far from the normal we used to have. However, reassessment is required in all fields. So in this roundtable discussion, we will tackle 4 main points regarding the challenges we're facing in the post-pandemic era, starting from e-entrepreneurship. We will move on to digitalization, and we will conclude the session with the role of youth and partnership. So I would like to address the first question to Mehdi Badawi and to Omar. What would be the concrete solutions you can bring to the table as a leader or a leading figure? Omar, if you can proceed.
Okay. Thank you so much for this question. I think this is a good question for this time. First of all, we have to understand that leader mean all of us. So we are all a leader. So we have to maintain this vision of leadership all over the world, all over the things we do. This can be a little things or a big projects or a kind of little action. All we have to do is to have this kind of leadership mindset. So this is the first thing we have to have on what we done, what we want to do. And the second thing I can say is in this time of pandemic, it's not different time because we all have the opportunity to work before the COVID-19 to build a kind of project before the COVID-19 as a leader. I think we just have to adapt. We just have to transform. We just have to restructure. We just have to find a different way to work, different way to lead, different way to maintain the thing we do and the thing we have done in this time of pandemic. I know we have a kind of restriction in the lockdown and the different restriction. We can't organize events. We can't go outside our country. But I think it's an opportunity for us to know more about our own country, to know more about our culture, to know more about how we can be a community leader, how we can be a leader of our own home, how we can be a part of our own developments, because we can't build a world before building our house. So this time of pandemic gives us the opportunity to understand more the issue of the basic issue of our different country, the basic issue of our different community. You can see all over Africa right now, some people try to find a food, try to find water, try to find energy, try to find the basic thing they can have to survive. So in this time for pandemic, the opportunity for Africa, especially for Africa, to write a different history, to write a different kind of way to sustainable development, to write a different kind of how we can achieve a project, to write a different a different way of all of things. Because for other country, I can say the pandemic is very high level effects. But for us, Africa right now, we don't have the same effects as the other side. I mean, the development country. I don't know why, but it's facts. It's a fact. So and in these facts, we have to take it as an opportunity to build our Africa. We can't go outside. You know, we have a migrant, the issue about a migrant want to go in Europe to find life, to find how they can live outside Africa. And this time they can't go outside. They have to work here, they have to stay here. So this is a time to reflect about how we can build our home, how we can be part in the community developments. And I want to call all young active citizens, all young, maybe you think you are alone, but you're not, because we have all the same situation. The issue I have in Comoros is the same issue people can have in Morocco, is the same issue people can have in Madagascar, is the same issue people can have even outside Africa. That's the ISDG Sustainable Development Goals want to achieve right now, this transversality across the different countries. So leadership have to work behind the sustainability. Leadership have to work behind this no one leaving behind. And this pandemic remind us that we have, many people don't have this issue. You know, today all the media talk about COVID-19, but we forget the most important thing. We have malaria, we have HIV, we have food disease, we have all of these crises have stayed behind us right now because we have COVID-19. And I don't know why, but we have to remind our governments, we have to remind our leader that we have most important issue that COVID-19 is just a kind of, this is going, it's not going, we will not have COVID-19 all of the time. So COVID-19 just pass, but food disease stay here. Malaria will stay here, and also migration issues will stay here. So we have to find a way to build a different Africa, to work together as in Africa. You know, if I want to go in Madagascar, I can't, for example, right now. Even you are French, you can go in England, you can go in Italia, but we can't travel between Africa countries. I don't know why, but it's a fact also. So this because we don't have this kind of together, this kind of Africa Union. So as leader, we will have, first of all, think about our community developments, and secondly, think about our Africa development, because my community development means thinking about the issue of different countries, scalability of my solution in different countries. And in my program as Obama Leader Africa coordinator, we will work with different Africa young leaders across the world, and they put on the different communities a program named Country Service Public Country, a coordinator service public service. So this project is about how they can find a solution to fight COVID-19 in this community, and we will support them to build a solution. Concrete solution mean how to find a respirator, how to find food, how to help forget people. I mean, this kind of solution. And secondly, as I told, I tell about a few minutes ago that I'm the deputy president of Ideas for Action Africa. So Ideas for Action have put a platform, which is we call all young African people to join us and to see how they can bring a solution in this platform. So in this time of COVID, you can find it in Google if you type Ideas for Action COVID-19 challenge. So we call all of them to bring a solution. This solution is about sustainable solution, mean a solution will be there after COVID-19. Solution will be resilience with COVID-19. So we'll have to bring a sustainable resilience economic, and with young people, we can have a different idea. I can give you a concrete example. I have a friend come from Somalia, and he brought a kind of respirator, and with this platform, other people in different countries see how they can do the same things, and they done this in their own country. So this kind of connectivity, this pandemic give us the opportunity to know us, even these events. I don't know you, all of you, and this COVID-19 give us the opportunity to learn more about different countries, to learn more about different civilization, different culture in my home state. So it's beautiful. I'm not saying COVID-19 is beautiful, but it just, it's a big opportunity for us to build and to know more about Africa, to know more about how we can work together. Because before COVID-19, it was expensive, it was hard, it was difficult to join, to work together. But right now we have virtual events, we have virtual connectivity, we have virtual solution, we have virtual, and it's beautiful. We can work together in the other side. In OEA group, we put a program, a platform for training with virtual connection. So right now, before COVID-19, I have to pay more than $2,000 to pay a trainer and to pay the travel to come in Comoros and all of this. And right now I don't have to pay that. It's beautiful also because you can stay in your home and train people from the other side of the country or the Africa country. So it's beautiful for me. It's an opportunity for us as young leaders. COVID-19, it's a big opportunity. We can work together and see how really we can play a role in this time of COVID-19, and we can play as leader to invite other people to join us and to work together building sustainable Africa. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Omar, for your insights. And I believe you have been doing a lot during this pandemic period, as you have been contributing in making change. What about you, Mehdi? I would love to know your answer on our question.
Sure thing. So personally, I believe that the pandemic made us obliged to review so many things, and mainly to see how resilient is our leadership mindset, how our systems are extremely or somehow ready to pass or to fight this pandemic. Personally, I see the pandemic as a catalyst or as an opportunities or catalyst mainly for entrepreneurs. So maybe in the last 4 or 5, maybe 5 months, we have seen so many initiatives, so many different initiatives coming from all over the world, and mainly in Africa, where we saw so many different entrepreneurs coming up with creative, brilliant ideas to not only support their communities, but also to support their own governments, which most of them, they were a bit lost somehow, mainly depending on the country, depending on situations and the number of the cases. And also it's shown that how resilient and how are we able to survive in this ongoing crisis, mainly for the SMEs, whom they were being like very affected financially, let's say in Morocco somehow. So I believe that there were been a lot of opportunities, but yet they need to be supported. They need to be more, more accelerated. so that they can survive and survive. So that's what I think. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mehdi. I would like to know if any of the speakers have something to add. Yes. Hello?
Yes, I think COVID-19 is a pandemic. It's also an opportunity because in any setting as an entrepreneur, you'll always come to adapt to your environment, to adapt to the market, to adapt to anything. So it's just like any change that an entrepreneur can find or a leader can find along the way. For sure, it's been disruptive because all the mainstream information that we had, the schooling that we had, was based on certain KPIs, was based on certain methods that are now disrupted, and we don't have visibility. And visibility is very important for some people to be able to navigate. And some people have the possibility to navigate through uncertainty, and some people don't. And this is where leadership is going to show, and leadership is going to foster, and we're going to see very good opportunities. However, if you do an initiative by yourself, it is very hard to make it impactful internationally. But as a community, as a global, it's very important. First of all, I believe the environment needed a break, and they got its break. You've seen the you've seen the travel industry, you've seen the airlines. They were all at halt for about 2 to 3 months, depending on the country where you're in. But officially, internationally and globally, it came down considerably, more than 70% internationally, which gave the Mother Earth a possibility to breathe. So let's keep it sustainable. Let's keep it green. Let's foster more green things. Let's not go back to the way we did things. We had a lot of virtual events, and beforehand, Zoom was here, Skype was here for 15 years, Teams and Hangouts and all the technology. So the technology is old. It's just that it hasn't been used because now it's a necessity. And unfortunately, we don't take we don't forecast, we don't anticipate, we don't try to create unless we are against the wall. And this is really bad. So now let's build a model together that is sustainable, and think twice before making a decision, because our values will change after the pandemic. However, human nature is very forgetful. You only need 40 days to forget all about the past and then swear. In Morocco, we say we swear at least twice a year. We say it's never this cold, it's never this hot. So let's not forget that the pandemic has been disruptive, and find a new ways that are sustainable to do business, to be able to adapt to our markets, to be able to adapt to our communities, and to work together towards a better future. But it is a team effort. It is also a team effort with the governments. We have to lobby the governments, because the law have to change to be able to foster these kind of relationships. The procedure have to change also to be more digital, to be able to foster this kind of community engagement and all that. So things have to change. It will change slowly, but surely it will change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Huda. I don't know if any of the other speakers have another intervention.
Yes.
So, yes.
So thank you, Salama. Well, I totally agree with Huda about entrepreneurs, and they need to think agility first for the survival of their companies, and for their own growth. You talked in your question like we as speakers, we are somehow leaders. I don't think that we are leaders. We are not. We are just team players. Maybe we think, or we just have a certain way of express ourselves a bit pushy, and we should be pushy. And young people should be much more pushy. Just a few seconds. If we think about the e-economy, all the consulting firms since 10 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago, was saying like Africa will go digital now, and a lot of states have their own funds. We have also World Bank giving funds. You have Europe giving funds, but our state, African states, are just saying, yeah, we are going to be digital, but we never knew when we are going to be digital. So this pandemic is an opportunity, because we knew with this pandemic that it's now, not yesterday, not tomorrow. It is just now, because all those SMBs and small companies, traditional one without digital, gonna die. They're gonna die. So we had to put alternative and go digital, mass in a fluent way, and very rapidly. That's the aim.
Thank you, Sana. Henry, do you have something to add?
No, I mean, you know, pretty much everybody said everything, so I don't have anything else to add right now.
All right. So I would like to bring you back to saying that we have been using technology and it was actually here years before, but now we are actually making it an effective tool. So my next question is for Henry and Sana. As the pandemic steered the wheel towards digital tools and created an urgent call to take advantage of this crisis by focusing on emergent technologies for more performance and innovation, and to review the future sectors on which Africa must focus. So what do you think of e-entrepreneurship as a rising solution?
Well,
Sorry, I can start. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so briefly, I didn't talk what I do. I mean, I'll spend like 10 seconds. So we developed the technology to bridge the gap of digital access and connectivity, mostly in rural areas, semi-urban area, and refugee camps. We operate in 4 countries right now. And yes, entrepreneurship is definitely a strategy governments are using to solve some of the problems and some of the challenges that we have on the ground. I truly believe that social entrepreneurship is the future because Africa needs to, and I think someone said it, but we need to focus on solution within instead of always looking for solution outside in, and which is still a problem. I mean, so entrepreneurship is a strategy that governments are using. I've been back at Rwanda 7 years now, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And I like to talk about the challenges because I think entrepreneurship is a very broad spectrum, but if you get into the specific, you realize that we have a long way to go. One of the biggest challenges we have in Africa is there's a lack of support from our governments. And what kind of supports am I talking about? For example, government don't buy local technology. They buy foreign technology. They buy foreign solutions. And that's one of the biggest problems. So you can push entrepreneurship, you can push the youth to try to look for solutions, but as long as, until you buy solution locally, then all you're doing is noise. You know, all you're doing is just trying to sell noise to the kids, trying to bring solutions, and then you don't bring them a marketplace. Another challenge that we see in social impact is it's dominated by foreign entities in the solar energy sector, in the agricultural sector. Technology, we in the hardware and software business, for example. Hardware is extremely expensive to develop. If you look in the West, in the States, because I grew up there, there is a lot of financial tools for anyone to develop a solution. There's grants, there is programs from universities to promote. Can you imagine that in Africa till today, there is no grant program fully financed by African government to finance research and development. It does not exist. If you look at all the grants in Africa, they all come from Europe or America, and now a little bit of China. Those are also some aspects that needs to be changed if you really want to see the scalability of changes and entrepreneurship to really have an impact on the ground.
Thank you so much, Henry. That was pretty insightful. I would love to hear what Senna has to say about that.
Sure. Sure. So we've been talking like a couple of minutes about the role of governments in this digital industry in Africa. Well, for me, government won't be able to do anything. Our government cannot do. It's not the problem of they're not willing to do, but it's a problem of resources. So, given that, we have to find our own solutions, and our solution, it would be entrepreneurship. And yes, and while we don't talk about globalization and work with Europe, China, or US, since we are in a globalization era, so we can have foreign funds that will allow us promote our local products for a regional and they will shine regionally. But the lack, I don't think it's about resources. The lack that we have in Africa, the big lack for me, it's about coaching part. I don't think, like I know in Morocco, we have several, I don't know, technopark and incubators. We do have some coaching, kind of coaching. But if we compare it with Europe, it's not really the same level. What I'm saying is that an entrepreneur, would it be a Congolese, Ivorian, Cameroonese, or whatever, he needs support. In France, for example, we have data. We know that 40% of startups will go bankrupt in less than a year if they are not supported, coached, what I mean, coached, versus 20% when they are coached. Unfortunately, we don't have data. And even in US, we know that a startup is likely to live twice in the 5 upcoming years if the startup is supported. So we have the same figures, but we know that the problem is the coaching part. The entrepreneur, and to answer your question, Salama, yes, I do believe that e-entrepreneurship is a solution. It's not a solution. It is a sense of survival for our economy. But we don't have the right ingredients to ensure that this e-entrepreneurship will rise. What are the ingredients? For me, the ingredients are coaching for entrepreneurs, giving hardwares, soft skills, international mentorship, and then funds. The problem is not money. It's first of all, and after all, competencies.
Sorry, yeah. I'll have to disagree, but I don't know if we have time to get on a debate, but I'll definitely have to disagree with this one. But yeah, I'll let everybody else get it.
Yeah.
Please, Henry, go ahead, elaborate if you.
I mean, you know, and I'll be quick. I totally understand that coaching is important, but the business is very simple, right? Mm-hmm. You have to, you're selling a service or product to a buyer. So there is an exchange of money at some point. Governments are the biggest spender to any country. Any country, the government spend more than anybody else. The problem is if you're a young entrepreneur in Africa, let's say developing a solution for the agricultural sector, if your government goes to China or India to buy a solution, then your business is dead. It's just dead. So it's not about government not having money. They do have money. They have budgets. They spend money. But if they can spend at least 50% of their budget locally, do you know that in the States, they have laws and policy, and I'm sure you guys can see what's going on now. Huawei is getting banned. All those companies, foreign companies are getting banned because they want to protect their industry and their market. But in Africa, it's the only continent to this day, even China has those policies. Africa is the only continent to this day without none of those policies. We import more technology than we develop internally or we buy from internal aspect. I mean, I operate in 4 countries, and I can tell you, it's so sad, but the reality is we have a complex in Africa, and that's the reality, where we prefer buying because we don't trust our own technology, so we buy foreign thinking it's better than local. So it's the problem of Africa, to me, if I had to sum it up, it's a mindset problem. It's not a money problem. There's money. We claim we're not rich, but there's money. I mean, when we look at budget, the problem is a mindset. I do agree that training is important, but it's a mindset problem. But if we don't spend locally, then we're killing the local industry. It's that simple.
Thank you, Henry. I believe Huda has something to say as well.
I'm a talkative person, so probably I have something to say about everything. But I do agree with Henry. It's not a problem with the money, because if you find, I will talk from experience in Morocco, there's plenty of grants to develop anything and promote anything, but people don't go for that because the entrepreneurship mindset is not there yet. And you don't ask people to be entrepreneurs only because you cannot find jobs for them. You'd have to have the mindset has to be developed throughout the years and also throughout the environment, because, you know, for entrepreneurship to be able to mature and, let's say, to be competitive and performant enough to be scalable, you have to have the proper environment. So let's take for instance what actually accelerated industrialization in Europe. It's basically the law for to protect property. So the law is very important. If the law doesn't follow, you will find somewhere else where you can protect yourself, and it's not your country. And we all know how behind we are in Africa in general in enforcing the law. Let's just say there is a rule, and you know it's there. Well, go get it in the tribunal. It would take you probably years. You don't even go to do that anymore. So the government has to have also, other than the mindset, that takes time, and it takes education, and it's something that is messages that are done in culture, and their values that are explicitly expressed over and over through media and throughout different mediums to be able to be understood. The law and the government have to be helpful, and they have to actually buy and trust the technologies that they are. You talked about globalization, Sana. Yes, there's globalization and interconnectivity. We're all value chains, whether it's in industry or in services or others. However, there's also barriers, entry barriers, and also things that they can put together to put some favoritism by local, consume local. Investors have to have a local partner, which is what everybody's doing. China has done it for years and still doing it. Other countries have been doing it. If you don't have a transparent system that guarantees swift recovery, you cannot foster entrepreneurship. You have to have transparency, and you have to have simplicity in laws to be understood by everybody. We don't know the laws in Africa. It is the fine print. We have the laws. We don't have how to apply the laws. And I can give you examples because I've been in the lobbying for many years. I mean, the law would come out. There's a law that came out in Morocco last year, which gave the government, let's say the parliament, 1 year to draft how to apply the law before it expired, and expired before they drafted how to. So basically, it is for sure a mindset, but the government have to be more serious into making things simple. Priorities are different. Yes, we do know that. And priorities are to feed the mouths and be able to have national security and other stuff. But if we want to be competitive, and competitivity was important, not employment, again, I say it loud and clear. People, Africa is thinking about how they can absorb unemployment. That's not a good KPI. How to be competitive will absorb unemployment. If you help people being competitive and give them the tools to be able to scale, to be able to grow, and to be able to go and find new markets, they will definitely employ more people. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Huda. Omar, do you have
word if it is possible? Just I want to answer the few comments that we already have. Actually, I just want to say that given my experience in Africa, I was wondering if we will be waiting after government to do something. That's the point. So we have two choices. We are waiting for, let's say, the regulation, the laws, the government initiatives, or we just go by ourselves and think like the private sector and do it by yourself or by ourselves. And for me, it's not a good idea to wait after governments. That's why I was talking about globalization. I was talking about, let's say, just closed to overcome this context with a lot of constraints.
Yeah, I would want to add some view of things. You know, in Africa, I'm completely agree with Henri in some parts because as African entrepreneur, we face different kind of issue. First, I give you my own example, experiences of my own experiences as entrepreneur when I come back to United States and I want to build my own company in Comoros. The first thing I have to do is to build a legal company in my country. And for the process we have in the country in Africa to build a business, it's really hard and it's difficult to have all the documents, all the necessary thing we need to. This is a simple thing, just to be register ourselves as an entrepreneur and with legal to pay taxes and all of this. This is the first thing. We have a hard administration and a non-support, a completely non-support of the government. I can say that because when you ask an entrepreneur wherever he comes from, the first thing he will say, I have difficulties with my governments because they don't support us, even in law support, reform support, facilitation support to receive markets, to have a client, to have customer, any support comes from the government. And it has already says, our government spend a lot of money in our country. I can give you a concrete example. Today, I think today I'm working with the COVID-19 economic resilience of the Comoro government's solution after the planification of the strategic after COVID-19. And I'm work closely with the government, which is we want to have some budgets with how they can be the budget after COVID-19 and before COVID-19, the government budgets, and how will be the process of market process, local markets. And in this time of COVID-19, we don't have a choice. I can give an example. In the time of Ramadan, we're waiting for a crisis because we don't have food coming from the outside. And because we spend our money buying foods come from Madagascar, come from Dar es Salaam, come from South Africa. So we're waiting for a catastrophic Ramadan month. But we don't have that because we have a lot of local production, but no one knows that. No one have waiting to see a shoe production of local shoe production, but the governments have to transform the solution to buy this project and this solution, and work closely with the producer, with the agriculture, local agriculture, to support them to build a kind of value chain and help them to buy the things. But before the pandemic, no one buy the things. No one confident with the African local projects. I can give another example. Even you are, we are brother. I'm from Comoros, for example. You're from Morocco. We're from Rwanda. I don't know. And if I'm not gonna, I think if we lead a webinar, or I can say conferences or a training in my country, and we put 2 flyers. In one flyers, I put myself. In other flyers, I put other people come from different countries. And I really believe that you will have most of people will come for the other people, don't from for your country, because we don't believe on our own brotherhood. We don't believe on our own capacity. We don't believe on our own Africa brotherhood. So this is a really issue. We don't have confidence. We don't have this brotherhood. That is this from my own country. I want to buy an iPhone, but I can't buy a Kenya mobile phone. This is not a difference between these 2 mobile, but it is in Apple. That's all. It is about confidence. It is about mindsets. As I say, Henry said before, entrepreneurship is about how we can convert our own country that we are the solution, but the solution is not outside. The solution is inside. And even listeners come for the government, or they come for the private sector or the partnership, but it have to come for us, as you say, Sana. We want to begin, of course, but we can't go far without the government support. So you can build your business, and we can even gain $2,000 a month, but we can't go scalable. You can't go to be an industrialization business. You can't grow, because with growing, you need to be locally growing. So you need to be Dubai, you need to have a customer from your local country. So I'm completely agree with this. Entrepreneur is an opportunity to sell my products outside my country. This is one thing, because with that, the e-commerce will be productively. We say in this time of COVID-19, the most platform, the e-commerce platform will gain a lot of, because I can't move. So I buy my thing with Amazon, and we see Amazon grow up because they have most employee before the COVID-19, and the e-platform, the e-entrepreneur, the e-mobile money, the this is a solution for this time of pandemic. In our local country strategic, I put the digital in the high level. That is the high prioritization of things we have to do in our country. So, but we have to begin ourselves, and asking for the support of government. We have to be in and to see how we can convince the government that we have the solution. But for example, Madagascar have the, as I say, the CVO, the organic, I don't say this is right, this is work or not work, but all the country come from Africa don't believe of this CVO because it comes from Africa. So this is an example that Africa, product from Africa, we don't believe of that. But even we say this product comes from other country, I don't say what each country, but an Occidental country, for example, everyone will be believe on no AC, there is no tests, there is no anything to prove that the medical is the right, but come from Africa, it's mean not good. And we have to change that. We have to look at people that to believe on Africa country, to believe on Africa initiative, to believe on Africa solution, and Africa will have to build our own solution.
All right, thank you so much. We have another addition from our speaker, Mehdi Badawi. I think he's not able to speak, but I'm gonna read his comments. So He said that the pandemic has accelerated the process of digital transformation across almost all sectors. We can see through statistics that most of SMEs are looking for a way or another to switch their businesses virtually and adapt their business models. Yet, most of them found some difficulties, especially when it comes to the digital tools, which definitely requires some mentoring, coaching, and creative solutions provided by our businesses and projects. On the other hand, the pandemic has brought on changes to consumer behavior that is likely to stay for good. For instance, the number of online transactions, the use of the credit card, and so has increased in Morocco, and people become more aware, which makes it somehow easy for entrepreneurs. So we will move on to the next question that will be addressing Huda and Omar. So, as you know, digitalization is transforming African economies in four major ways: retail payment systems, financial inclusion, sustainable business models, and revenue administration. New and innovative products for financial inclusion through digitalization are popping up around the continent. So, taking the new path that COVID-19 drew the whole world in, how can digital transformation influence and maintain the development of the post-crisis situation?
I would like firstly to start with, digitalization is not something that COVID-19 has brought about. It's a process that's been ongoing for the past 10 years. It's the adoption rate that is very low in some countries compared to others. But however, digitalization is a must in order to be competitive, in order to be sustainable, in order to be able to make decisions on a real-time manner, because the technology has been proven, and technology is it is cheap. It's not as it used to be before, and it's not custom made. There's tools that you can put together that can enable you to do things much faster and not look into the paperwork. So it is something of the 21st century. Everybody has to get to it. In different countries, there were some funds and grants and subsidies that have been given to companies to be able to cope with the new reality, in order to be not just to be competitive, just to be in the market, because the cost of labor, for instance, to be able to do a transaction by hand, it is very expensive. When you automate it, it is just very inexpensive and also very efficient. So unfortunately, I think it's a problem of communication, because when you say digitalization, it's such a big word, especially for entrepreneurs that do not know what digitalization means. We have to explain it step by step. We have to put together, systems where you can buy some technology starts with some technologies that are very easy to maintain, 2 clicks. It comes with some trainings and how to use it and how efficient it is. And I can see that proudly on the Food E-Show, we have companies that are actually offering this technology to the food industry, whether it's restaurants that want to do e-commerce and be able to delivery and have automatization on all their systems, or other products. But it is a must. It's not something, it's not a luxury. It's no longer something that we do to show off or something that we put on our website. We are totally digitalized, we're integrated. It is a definite must. So yes, we do. I hope that people who had slow business in the past COVID-19 confinement, which is mandatory confinement in some countries, have the time to educate themselves. And there's a lot of material that is available for free, as well as very inexpensively online, where you can take classes and learn about how to improve your processes. And there's a lot of consultants that are not very expensive, that can be put together based on your needs. You just have to define what your needs are. So basically what happens why do we buy technology that comes from outside and not buy technology that comes from our countries? And this is addressing what Henry had said. It's because we are very, very bad marketers, extremely bad marketers. I am sorry to say that, but yes, me too. I've been, I studied in the US and I lived in the US. We do not explain how other people explain things. It has to be user friendly. It has to be explained to the, we just expect people to understand what it is. And this is an effort that we have to put together. We have to document, we have to write. Africa in general is a continent where the culture is very oral. Nothing is written. We need to write, we need to change, we need to be able to do demos, we need to be able to do videos. And those are the challenges I'm also facing now as let's say, a digital entrepreneur, an e-entrepreneur, that I'm launching an event, a platform that is an online platform, is because we expected people to understand it from the first, you know, the description that we have put together, and finally people don't. And we're like, okay, we are not at the same level of maturity. We need to explain it via videos. Maybe our strategy is not clear enough for these people, even though there are decision makers. We're addressing only businesses, we're not addressing consumers. So they are at a certain, they are all exporters, they are all speaking English, they are all available in different markets. So we need to adapt to our market to be able to sell our product. As entrepreneurs, this is what we should do. So digitalization, again, it is a must. We're gonna live with the pandemic for a while till we find a solution, sustainable solution, which is probably a vaccine or herd immunity, if we ever achieve herd immunity. But it is something as an entrepreneur that you do for yourself to be able to lower your costs, to be able to make decisions on a timely manner, to be able to handle your human resources. We all are working from home. Everybody in my team is working from home, and we've been working from home since the beginning. We didn't stop. We didn't have anything to do in March. Everything was canceled. Everything was postponed. And a lot of people still don't understand. Some of my clients, I'm in a training business, and some of my clients did not agree to do trainings online. They wanted to be, to me, to drive all the way to their cities and have people around the table. And since in Morocco, we're not allowed to do that. So the mentalities have not changed because they think it's temporary and we're gonna go again and be able to meet and be able to do things the way we used to do. And it's still not set in yet, but it is much cheaper. And we're showing it through the numbers to use digital tools to be able to do that. Because every time now somebody calls me and he says, we need to meet. And I'm like, well, it will cost you this much if I come to you. However, if we do a Zoom, this is how much it will cost, and this is what the process will be. So we need to educate. It's going to take a while. Not everybody is going to be able to educate, but if we consider ourselves leader, we need to lead the way and be able to pioneer some of the sectors that we are in, to be able to be the role models for other people that will follow and say, okay, it made a difference. But it's an interesting, to me as an entrepreneur, it is an interesting because I've never been in a startup mode, and I'm thinking it's a startup mode, and I want to go back to the role of the government and say, in March, in April, when we decided to merge, to create this project, we are two companies, and we wanted to start a third company where we're both shareholders in the new company. But guess what? You cannot start a company during COVID in Morocco. You can start it till June. So how can we wait for the government to open up the process of legal to be illegal? So we did the project between two companies, which is unusual in this kind of setting, but this is the way we had to do business. We had the possibility to do it in different countries, but we decided to stay Moroccan and to help the Moroccan economy, because at least there's one thing we know. At least we know this system. We don't know the others. That's one thing. Yes, we've been given opportunities to have investors, which we declined at the moment. But if you have a good product, if you have a good project, people will come to you. You really need to be able to market your project well. And I'll be happy to hear what everybody say and share again.
Thank you so much, Huda. But I believe this is a kind of resilience that we have shown throughout this situation. And as leaders, I think many resilient plans have come out through this context. So I would like, yes?
I just want to say I have one of the companies that is dead. So there's no resilience when it comes to car rental. There's no people that rent in cars. Nobody is moving inner cities. No, there's no events to go to. So you can be as resilient as you want, but there are some sectors where you can't. And I cannot go digital. Like, okay, let me experience how to ride a car with a software, or let's do virtual reality to ride a car. No, it doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, there is some services. And again, digitalization can help you market a lot of services. In a lot of industries, you have to be there. You cannot even work from home. You have to be there. So you have to make sure that you take the processes and adapt to the situation. But let's think of how much services do we sell in our continent? Not a lot compared to the rest. They sell a lot more services, and that's where they have a lot more value added. We sell less services. We sell raw material. That's what Africa wants to do. So now if we switch from raw material a little bit and increase the percentage of services and increase the percentage of value added products and services, we can be able to have better economies. And if we have better economies, it's better taxation, and better taxation is better education, better infrastructure, and goes on and on and on.
Thank you so much, Huda. We will proceed with Omar's answer, and then we move to Henry's intervention.
You know, 97% of entrepreneurs claim in this time of pandemic, COVID-19 boosted the digitalization, because in the time of pandemic, we don't have choice. As Hoda say, we have to be more a marketer. And we know that young people in Africa especially don't be really marketer. We don't have this mindset. We don't have this marketer mindsets. This pandemic gives us opportunity to show products in e-platform. Even we don't know, even we don't have the idea about what. I work closely with the International Organization of Francophonia and as a consultant, and we build a platform known Solidarity for COVID-19. And in this platform, we have a lot of ideas. A lot of young people put the idea in this platform. The idea is about entrepreneurship. It can be their products or services or other else. But the main specifically with this solidarity, COVID-19 solidarity, it's about how the solution can be grow and can be readapted and can be found a different way to be entrepreneur, found a different way to create, to build a business. And we talk about sustainable business, but how is about sustainability concretely? What is sustainable businesses? Today, most of entrepreneurs, most of young people claim they are social entrepreneur. They work behind sustainable projects. They work behind sustainable entrepreneurship. And this time of pandemic, we have a kind of people claim also we have to use Zoom, to use e-platform and other languages. But how it's about sustainable digitalization, sustainable entrepreneur. Sustainability, it's about how I can create project today that these projects will have positive impact in the future generation. Now that means digitalization don't have, I don't know, with the 5G, maybe we'll have radiation. I don't know if that is true or not, but I think digitalization don't have a big effects in environments, a big effects in social impact, negative impact, I mean. But this impact can be more controlled. With digitalization, we can control the impact. We can control how we can grow, how we can be more sustainable. And in this time of pandemic, young people have to find a way to build a different way their own business. Because I give you an example. If I'm working to product an agricultor, as an agricultor, for example, I produce potatoes, I don't know, maybe. Before COVID-19, how I can my potatoes by showroom or going to local marketing? But you have to put your projects on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on digital platform and others. So this is the way I think this digitalization comes from. The no choice. No choice mean we have choice. No choice mean we have to find a way to be more sustainable. We have to find a way. But the issue is about many of us don't have access to digital, to networking. Many of young African countries don't have access to internet, don't have access to connectivity, don't have access to all of the solutions we're talking about, to online digitalization, to MOOC, or to online training, or all of these things. And how they have to do, how they can continue to survive, how they can continue to build a sustainable project without access to network. So first of all, we have to find a way to support them, to find a way to, as Henri say, who work closely to build a community, migrant community in other areas. I don't know. The important is how we can find a way to give access to internet for people come from the other side of the planet, don't have access to internet. And after that, we can talk about how people can access to internet, how they can use internet, because it's not the same issue for everyone. For other people, they directly have the connection, but for others, they don't have anything. So the solution have to be equitable. We have to find a solution to be resilient after the COVID-19 by for the people have access and for the people don't have access to internet. And I think networking and connectivity, we have to, maybe after the COVID-19, we have the opportunity to travel. We have the opportunity to go across different countries. And we have to sensitize government, we have to sensitize stakeholders, we have to sensitize a partner to create an environment for networking environment. Because without that, without connectivity, we can't talk about digitalization. And I closely believe that this is the one moment we can arrange that, because, you know, if you see the support of I'll give an example, IMF for the COVID-19 in Africa, it's more than $1 billion for one country, for example. So we have to work to how to use this resource to be more prioritization on digitalization, to prioritize the digital inclusion, the digital networking, the finance. You talk about financing, inclusion in financing, but I think in Africa, not all people play with PayPal or have mobile money, or and we don't know about that. Even in Comoros, for example, we says last year the first mobile money came last year. Okay, so if you go in the village community, you talk about is inclusion, mobile money or cards, even just use a gap to take money. It's not on the level, it's not on the side, but we have to find a way to sensitize. This is the first thing. We have to sensitize people that this is a solution and it's not expensive, and it's the way they can have a life. I work closely with Isahit, is a French corporate, work to give young women in Africa, a decent work to pay them $300 a month by working on digital marketing, on working at community management, working on networking, so they don't have to move, but they stay home and they work, they gain money, and they can take care of their family. And this kind of solution, this is a solution for tomorrow, working at home and gain money and take care of family without move, without go outside, but the digitalization, the digital marketing, the digital markets is the future for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omar, for shedding the light on a different point of view. But we have Henry who wanted to say something.
Yeah, I mean, most of the things have been said, but I'll summarize into 3 key points that we've learned operating in refugee camps mostly. Number 1 is digital literacy. I know it's been mentioned, but I always separate, when we talk about digitization, I always say there's over 70% of the population in Africa that's still not connected to the internet. Unfortunately, we think internet is what's going to bring digitization in Africa. And what we found out was we need a more innovative technology, number 1, and innovative business model. So digital literacy is problem number 1. Number 2 is sustainability, that was also mentioned out there. But what we found out also is internet is expensive. It's still expensive. So most people don't have the money to spend on internet. So you have to come up with a, and we work a lot with MTN Telecom, and MTN was telling us, well, you know, when we pay millions and millions of dollars licensing to government, and they charge us high taxes and all, then they have to pass on that cost to the consumer. There you go again, you know, so we need policy changes. And the last thing, as I mentioned, is technology. I think the traditional ways of bringing internet to users is not the way. We need to build our own, what they call localized server, or localized, where the digital content is stored. What you pay when it comes to digitization, at least access, which is what the biggest problem is, the biggest cost is the bandwidth. And when the information you're trying to access is stored outside the continent, then of course the bill is going to be higher. So we need to build more servers in Africa. We need to have storage of information locally. And I'll go even further. One of the biggest problem of lack of access to digitization is we don't have enough content people can access in local languages. So those are the main things I just wanted to summarize from my experience working in refugee camps and low-income areas.
Thank you, Henry. I would like to know if any of our speakers have something to add.
I just have an example of access to internet. So some years back, they said that to increase literacy, whether it's language literacy or anything, we'll just need internet and a smartphone to be able to have voice activated instructions on all that. And they had some pilot communities where they had that. And basically it's to learn, it's just so for alphabetization and to learn Arabic or French. And they've been given the hardware, they've been given the connection, but guess what they've been looking at? Mainly just mundane information on YouTube. So conscience is a change, is a mindset as well. Being able to work within a future is something else. I'm gonna say something that's probably gonna shock you, but like the more you give for free, the less they take it for granted. The more they take it for granted, like that it's not appreciated. So back in the days, 20 years ago, when I was doing my master's degree, we were thinking about how the North-South subsidies and grants have been counterproductive for Africa, for instance, in all the grants that are being received from different countries, how it's not distributed evenly for the populations. We need to find a local solution. We cannot apply a solution that is adopted from somewhere else. We need to find a local solution that would work. We need to increase awareness. That is the way to get out of poverty. That is the way to increase in productivity. That is the way to find a solution. Yes, I think Omar had mentioned that is very interesting, that they are working with organization into finding jobs for these women in let's say rural areas, to be able to stay within their homes and still work and get paid. Again, the law has to change to be able to have these people as working people. Unfortunately, the government needs funding, and funding comes from taxation, and taxation comes from taxation on revenues, taxation on imports, taxation on companies, and so on and so forth. So if there's not a system that is sustainable all the way across, we will always have problems. And this system cannot be standardized for Africa, for instance, or standardized for any region. It has to be very local. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Huda, for your intervention. So moving on to the very last question that I would like to address to all of our speakers. So in the light of the COVID-19 context, youth have emerged as leading agents of communities' responses worldwide. In fact, since the onset of the crisis, youth did not act as mere spectators and disempowered citizens, but on the contrary, they reacted as frontline responders, tackling the spread of the virus and mitigating the many consequences of the pandemic. So, what strategies youth can still adopt to unfold effective partnerships for an impactful response? I would like to start with Henry.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I couldn't hear you. The youth?
Yeah, sure. So what strategies youth can still adopt to unfold effective partnerships for an impactful response?
Oh, interesting question. I mean, you know, I wouldn't just, for youth to really have an impact or to be able to participate, there needs to be an ecosystem. There needs to be a very well-oiled ecosystem. And I only speak from areas that I know, which is East Africa, West Africa. I don't know the rest of the continent, but the problem is the youth are doing their job. Me personally, that's what I believe. I mentor a lot of young entrepreneurs, especially in the innovation space, and they're doing their job. They're very creative. They're coming up with new solutions. There's plenty of solution out there now from the youth to solve some of the problems that we have on the ground. The challenge is access to funding, for example. The challenge is access to market. The challenge is, I'll give you a perfect example, the lack of partnership from big corporation in Africa to work with smaller companies like the youth, or smaller, innovative companies. So there is a lack of a dynamic ecosystem. And that's what the biggest problem is. So I don't think I don't think the need is to focus on the youth. What we need to do is to facilitate access for the youth to flourish. They always say, you know, if you plant seed and you don't water it, but then, you know, that seed will die. And that's what exactly is happening. And I don't want to sound pessimistic. I'm still optimistic, but the whole ecosystem needs to wake up for the youth to grow. It's that simple.
Thank you, Henry. Sanat, please. Sanat?
Can I say something till Sanat comes back?
Sure.
So I am with Henry on that. So if there's not an ecosystem, we need to have a roadmap for these people. The people have a lot of ideas, have a lot of energy, have a lot of creativity, because they're not conditioned. They're not conditioned like older people are. But we need to think, we need to educate them in how, if they want to get access to market, sometimes it's very important to give equity to other people that can help them develop their companies. I've seen a lot of very innovative companies in Morocco that were in proof of concept levels, and they started a company and did not want to give equities to angel investors or capital riskers, or even partner up with somebody else to be able to grow the business. And unfortunately, if you don't grow it, if you, like you said, if you don't water it, it will die. So the seeds are here. We have to think of models that will help increase this creativity, and not be able to say creative. We have so many patents, and we have done so many projects, but how much money did we make out of all these projects? What is the value added for all these projects? Are they sustainable? We definitely know that we are a very creative continent altogether. We are a continent that speaks many languages. We are a continent that is very resilient and can adapt. We already know that. But now, with all these skills that we have, how can we create value for our continent? How can we create value for our communities and be able to strive? Again, we are not given the skills to market. We are not given the skills to have access to markets, because a lot of companies that are very successful, they have saturated their local market before they took on new markets. We don't do that anymore. There is access to markets that could be, like you said, Omar was mentioning, you can go online and find different jobs. You can go online and find to create value. But all this have to have some impact into, let's say, it has to be formal. It has to be legal. It has to be within the laws. I do understand that people need to survive, and people will do whatever it takes to survive. But in order to maintain in all of Africa some social, let's say, social rest, we foster informal sectors. And this is something that we need to go beyond, because we are not creating the made in Africa properly. Like, that's why people trust made in Europe, because Europe markets it very well. It doesn't mean that Europe is all very developed. They have also some problems. They also have problems in inclusivity, and they have problems with access to this, but on a less level than our countries. We need to have a branding that is good for Africa. And in order to do that, we need to push together models, and give role models, and give examples that we are successful, and that we are supportive, and that we believe in Africa. You know, there's African Union that has been discussing things. There's this LECA area to be able to do business. But unfortunately, personally, I think it's very far-fetched, because if the infrastructure is not there, how can you do business with all these countries? If the privacy protection of information is not there, like you said, if we have to buy bandwidth from different people, how can we be productive? How can we do business together? How can we trust each other? This is something that we all need to work on as communities, to be able to put an environment, an ecosystem for the youth to be able to grow, to be able to find partnerships, to be able to be mentored, to be able to be supported, to create in value for themselves, for their communities, and for the continent altogether.
Thank you, Huda. Mehdi, we would love to hear your intake. I believe Mehdi is having issues to reconnect as well. Omar,
Yeah,
would you like to share your answer?
yeah. You know, young people. Uh, how old you give me today? For instance, it's a wrong question. I'm just asking how old you give me today. Howda or Salama?
35.
Yeah, across 2 years after that, 16, yeah, 26. So I think, you know, young people, for me, is the solution for everything. 5 years ago, I finished my master's degree. I begin to think how I can be part of the movements. I can be part of the development of my Africa, my lovely Africa. I have the opportunity to go outside and to learn, to study in a big university in outside Africa, to see different culture, how other people can live outside Africa, how they work, how they think, how they do things, and how they do businesses, and how they do projects. So all of these things I have learned outside. I come in my country, I come in Africa, I come back to see how I can be part of the movements. Because if you see Africa before 10 years ago, it's not the same Africa today. 10 years ago, I'll give you an example about, it's not Africa, but Dubai. If you look at Dubai, 10 years ago, it's not the Dubai you look at today. You have a different thing pushed up, and how existing today in the Dubai for 10 years ago and the Dubai of today, and the sum of Africa. Today, Africa, you have voice of youth across all the country of Africa. We all understand the necessity and the important thing movements, and we can't wait again to United Nations. We can't wait again to IMF or World Bank or even in European Union or other partners to come and to support us to build our Africa, because no one, they were there since our born. Our born, they were there, and what they changed? What you see today in Africa. Why Africa don't become the most development country, or even Africa is the most, if you see, when we inject the fund, when they use the fund, when they inject the money, is in Africa. How we can understand that we receive a lot of money, we receive a lot of support, we receive a lot of, I don't know, even the kind of support we can receive from this whole country outside the Africa, this international organization, but Africa style poverty style in low economy, because we don't be part, because we don't take part. And young people, again, is the solution for a development. And we have to beginning in our sides, beginning in our home. As I said before, we have to begin in myself. I have to begin in myself, build my own soft skill, lean and lean and lean and lean, because leaning is not finished. Even you will have 100 years, you have to lean. And as young, you have to understand that you will be parts if you understand something, if you can put in the table something concrete. And this thing is coming for you action. It's coming for you conviction to act in your community, conviction to be part in your community. I'm come from a little island. You know, Comoros is, it's an island. Most of you don't know where is it. So Comoros is between Madagascar and South Africa, and we are no more than 1 million people in the country. So, but if I'm going in different community and see different young people from a big country like Nigeria, like Morocco, like, for me before, I saw that, wow, this is a wonderful, this should be a wonderful country. This should be a high growth and developing country, but it's the same, okay? It's the same because I see the same issue, the same problem, the same solution, and we have to, and based on that, we have to work together. This is the second thing. Before, we have to work locally, and we have to work globally. We have to unite each other. If you want to raise fundraising, if you want to engage a partner in action, you have to begin, because partners believe in action. Partners don't believe in talk. They believe on action. So if as yours, you want support, you have to show us what you can do. And if you see what you can do, we can say, okay, guys, we have to support you because we begin and we have this to give you. But if you don't begin, you stay on your home and stay for waiting for things come from the other side, you will stay all of your life, but you don't see anything coming for you. So my concern is to beginning acts. Act for you, act for your community, engage yourself as active citizen, engage yourself to know more about how you can be part of the movements. Go discuss, debate with the government, go engage yourself in association, in NGO, in entrepreneurship, in whatever say it can be, but engage yourself because you are the young, we're waiting for you. And I think this time of pandemic is specifically because young people, my voice can be heard by all of you guys, okay? I'm come from my side, little country, come from the other sides, poverty, etc. But my voice is heard by everyone across the world. And I can use also my voice. I'll join Huda about the branding. Personal branding is important. Branding, we don't know how to brand ourselves in Africa. I'll give an example. Yesterday, I have a meeting with friends. We organized an event, a webinar with a young international youth day in the next week. So we work to brand a kind of SDG decor when can put your profile inside. And he asked me, may I put my logo be in the decor? He don't want to put the logo because he believes that he should be more silent. He don't have to show what did I say, that you are the initiator of the initiative, so you have to brand yourself. You have to show other people that you are the leader of this initiative, you are the leader of this one, and other people can see and they understand that it's coming from African young people. If I can see Obama, for example, a young African people leading a country like United States, it can be more an inspiration in the world. It's like looking about Thomas Sankara, Martin Luther King, Mandela, all of these bigger young men guys come from Africa, and they all come from young Africa. They receive education, Africa education. So we are the solution of our Africa, guys. So we have to put concrete solution, sustainable solution to see how we can engage all stakeholders in our projects, engage all by leaving no one behind, and see how we can concretely build a sustainable community, build a sustainable Africa, and even build a sustainable world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omar. I believe Sana was not able to reconnect, unfortunately, to share her insights as well. But I would like to open the floor for the viewers on Zoom as well as on our social media if they have any remarks or questions to our speakers. I would like to go back to one comment that was shared earlier on Zoom from one of our participants. It's Mohammed Said from Nigeria. I believe he sent this insight when Sana was talking. He says, I want to disagree with Sana on her recent submission. I believe there is more than enough resources in Africa to kickstart a sustainable and inclusive development from within our shores. Achieving this through entrepreneurship is a stepping stone that has been frustrated by the African leaders for years. We have critical thinkers and technocrats that can drive our economy to the top. But are we ready to buy in our own intelligence and solutions? Are we ready to buy from our own aspirations? But I also completely agree with Sana that we need life coaching strategies to nurture the aspiring youth. Meanwhile, I don't know if you have any last words that you want to say before we start closing this roundtable discussion.
Sure, I would like to start. So I want to go back to what Omar said about acting now. So here's my action for today. As I'm hosting the Food E-Show, I'm giving one booth for free, just $750 value, to one competitive and exportable company from your country and from Rwanda, as well as who else we have with us? Salama?
Sorry,
we have
again?
Comoros. We have Comoros. We have
Rwanda.
Rwanda. And Sena. And Sena, let's say a tech company from another country. So they have a booth within the Food E-Show. If you can find me a company that is very competitive and cannot find access to market and can cater to the food industry. So either she has a product, they have a product, food product that they have to sell, not fresh, transformed, or they have a technology that they can sell to the food industry. They have a packaging, they have IT, they have a very specific product that they want to sell internationally. I will give them the booth for free. This is my action for today. And let's say if we can start communities and we can help each other grow in the international markets.
Thank you, Huda. Henry, Omar, any last words?
Thank you, Huda, for this gift. I think we find lots of young entrepreneurs have local markets and have a local.
I just need one. I just need one. That's your job. I just need one. I cannot offer free booths to everybody. I just need one company that you vouch for, you vet, that speaks English and has an exportable offer that somebody that you believe we can help give him access to markets within the food community, the food ecosystem. And I specifically say not fresh products, but transformed products, frozen, dried, and canned.
Yeah, I get it. I will try to find you one. As I didn't mention before, but I leading an incubator in Madagascar and Comoros and Mauritius, and also in Benin. So I can find you a lot of entrepreneurs. I mean, but I will find you one, as I said. The last thing I want to add, as I said before, sustainability is not a dream. It's not a mindset. It's not a project, but it's about its action. So we have to think sustainable, do sustainable. My wife said me every day, put the land off, put the light off every day. I forget to do that. So this is a kind of action you can do it every day. So I have kind of discussion every day with my wife because I forget the light and they say, you say people to be sustainable and you can't be sustainable in your own home. So sustainability become the beginning. Sustainability beginning in action and resiliences of this COVID-19. Take it as an opportunity because as we all say, we all agree that is the opportunity to grow. It is an opportunity to lean. It is an opportunity to connect. It is an opportunity to network and also to have marketing sales. So it is an opportunity to be more listen, to raise our voices and to be listen for all the people across the world, because we can just run a webinar and work with Facebook to promote our webinar, and everyone will be listening us. So all the solution, digital solution, will be the future of the generation need to digitalize, and we have to sensitize our governments, our stakeholders. Please prioritize digitalization as a solution for the future generation, even in value chain or even
I think Omar has a little issue with the network. Henry, any last words?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, first of all, Yuda, congrats. I love when someone pass the baton and give opportunities to others. That's what we definitely need on the continent. But yeah, I mean, COVID is just a reminder. Anytime there's a crisis, it shows the flaws of a society, communities, countries, or continent. And one thing I learned from the COVID, for example, is how health sector is so behind on the continent, for example. But what I do want to say is, and I think Omar said it a little bit, but you know, I left Africa in '96 dreaming about the States, and I left the States dreaming about Africa. And for me, the opportunity is home for all of us. Now the question is, how can we work together? How can we make this continent much smaller? How can we pass a hand to the next generation so they don't feel left out, and they don't, and then we don't perpetuate this cycle of not believing in ourselves and not helping ourselves. And I think that's the message I want to pass to not just all of us, because I'm sure you guys know that, but to the next generation. The future is here for us, at least. The continent has a lot of opportunity, no doubt about that. Now we need to build this ecosystem. Without the ecosystem, we're not going to make it.
Thank you, Henry. So I believe despite the challenges we can achieve through connectivity and cooperation, we can build our Africa and let it flourish. I think we have Omar back. So as I was saying, through connectivity and through cooperation, we can achieve flourish in Africa. As we are closing, I would like to thank you for your time and thank you for accepting the invitation. Sublimely insightful points and vibrant stories that you have shared with us today. I would be lying if I say that I'm leaving this discussion without any change in how I perceive things. So thank you again, all of the speakers, for giving your time and giving your insights and sharing your stories and how you see Africa. Thank you.
Thank you for the invite. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.